Afternoon, people. Welcome back to Pastries, Pumps and Pondering. I believe we're on episode 12, I think. Let me have a little look. It could be episode 11, potentially. Honestly, I think it's been about 4 weeks since I've done one of these. Pastries, Pumps and Pondering. Here we go. We are on episode 12. I was right the first time. So it has been a good few weeks. Last time I did an episode was 23rd of April, so about 3 weeks ago. And yeah, I'm back again. I'm actually back outside. I'm not in my car for once, I know. Novelty maxing, that's what I call it. I have I've effectively been trying to figure out a way to use a different software for my podcast, and also just developing a bit of time to think, a bit of content, as some would say, to come to you guys with something valuable to a degree. So as always, I'm going to do a little bit of a catch up on myself, of how stuff has been, what's going on in my life, bits and bobs. So first of all, in regards to the gym, where am I up to at the moment with the gym with myself? Like, I feel like in my last year, because coaching has really taken off. I mean, coaching's taken off the last few years since I left uni. I think sometimes I feel like my own journey takes a little bit of a back pedal, and I feel like when you kind of are looking to grow as much as I kind of want to in the gym, especially since the last time I competed was coming up to 3 years ago now. Wow, since the OG 2023 prep, which was a staple in my kind of journey. And yeah, I've kind of just been ticking away, eating in an anabolic environment, training really, really hard. Again, I love training. It's not my fault. I've had a few little bits of injuries and stuff. I did have a little minor tear on my trap through a hack squat, which was, great fun. So I haven't been able to hack squat for a few weeks, but I have got back into dumbbell split squatting, which has been really good fun. So yeah, I'm good. I'm weighing about 88 and a bit kilos, 88 and some change, which for me at 5'8" does feel quite heavy. But I've still got a few more kilos I can very much push up, but I'm feeling a bit larger because I've got to the point now where my food increase I had a food increase the other day. And really what kind of happens now at this point is it starts to get a bit hard when I get into kind of like the 90 kilo mark to the low 90s to the mid 90s. My food usually has to go up quite high. We're talking kind of above 4,000-ish, 4,500. So it is what it is. We get on with it, as I say to all my clients. We're potentially looking at a competitive season next year, but we'll see. I think a big part of my own bodybuilding journey is learning to love the process, because I enjoy the process. That's what I'm here for. I always say it, like, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing some sort of ultramarathon shit, or some long distance endurance cycling, or another sport which again just tests your minerals. And I think sometimes what that looks like, though, is not having everything so vigorously kind of, planned out. As much as planning is great, I think I'll most likely diet towards the back end of this year, so back end of the summer. And that is because I have approved my Australian visa, which is really cool. So what I'm going to be doing effectively is dieting. You could call it a pre-prep potentially. Depends if I prep next year, we'll see. We'll only call it a pre-prep in reflection. But we're going to diet into the back end of the year. I've got an Australian visa approved now, so I'm going to be heading out there in January, which is really, really exciting. It's one of those places which I've always just been very curious about in regards to the quality of life. I think the kind of lifestyle there matches a lot of what I kind of love in life. Coffee, slow mornings, nice walks, fitness, the sun, which I'm currently bathing in, which is gorgeous. So yeah, I'm going to go out there and kind of just live my life for a few months, like a month or month and a half, 2 months, we'll see. And like, it's one of those things where I'm going to just enjoy it. I'm just not going to try and do too much touristy stuff. I'm going to kind of just live my life like I do here, but there. I also do apologise. I'm currently sat on a bench outside, but before this podcast started, I sat on the bench and it started cracking. So I cannot move very much. So I can't express myself. Otherwise, I feel like this is going to be a clip which is going to be framed. You've been framed sort of vibe. So yeah, I've got that next year, which is really exciting. Really exciting. So I'm going to be probably dieting towards the back end of the year because I'm not going to be trying to be in Australia really, really heavy. Be on Bondi Beach, mate, like 100 kilos. Yeah, that sounds fun. I'd just be really sweaty, to be honest. But also, I don't think I could stretch out my off-season to that point unless I really pushed at a really slow rate of weight gain. Or just kind of held a body recomp phase like that, and that's kind of not as productive as I want to be at the moment. So I've got that planned. And then when I come back from Australia next year, if a prep is on the card and I see a show and I'm in whatever kind of time distance, fuck it, we'll go. We'll see. I'll be open men's, which will be weird. Just about. I will be 24 at that point because my birthday is in about 2 months. I'm currently 23. So, wow. Is 24 unk status? I don't know. Again, you're only as old as you'll ever be, and you're also only ever as young as you have been to a degree. I mean, maybe not the second one, but like, yeah, I guess that's actually true as well. You're only as old as you've ever been. Like, that's when I say to people, man, I feel old. I'm 23, and they're like, you're not old, you're so young. And I'm like, brother, I feel like unk status. I feel like unk right now. But yeah, so that's a lot about me at the moment. I mean, if there's anything in regards to outside of the gym, I feel like I'm going through a little bit of a transitional period. I think there was some things in my life, some beliefs, some behaviours, some things I've kind of been stuck in for a while, which I want to change about myself. Again, there's a few things in regards to how I have approached the last few years of my life, and again, a lot of it being around black and white thinking, and it's something which comes really naturally to me, which I believe is why I can be so good at the gym or bodybuilding, etc., stuff like that. But again, it will also hinder other areas of my life, and I did find I was kind of, I don't know, feeling the consequences of that in some areas. But like, I've been really working on that, especially with my big old therapist, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of chatting through things and trying to step into some grey areas, which usually feels very uncomfortable for me. So yeah, I feel like I'm going through a little bit of a transitional period myself, which is exciting because, again, you can be stuck for a while. And again, it's not stuck in bad things. It's just stuff which isn't serving you, or stuck in like behaviours or mindsets and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of kind of like reflecting and like growing as of recently, which is really cool. Again, I think I would be ignorant to believe that I'm not going to change again, or again, like these things. Like, I think that's the beautiful thing about life is you will constantly go through these transitional periods where the way you approach certain things will change, or the way you want to live your life will change and stuff like that. And I think I'm going through a little bit of a transitional period at the moment. Again, to be continued, because I'm still figuring that shit out myself. I can't give you a good explanation if I don't know yet. I'm kind of just experimenting with stuff. So, and I think that's kind of brings me onto a good topic, and I've got a few topics I want to go through. I didn't really have many, to be honest. Didn't have many, but I thought, I want to get on here and I want to yap, because today, first of all, I wanted to do the podcast. Second of all, I was like, my brain's just not ticking over today. I wasn't in as much of a cognitive workflow, but I think we'll go into the topic of running different experiments, and I think that ties in quite well, because I think the way, at least I find I'm quite built, is I'm very much a routine person. I thrive in routine, and it has quite frankly led to a lot of the good outcomes in my life. Of stuff I would say I value a lot of my self-worth off, like having a solid routine means I have a good physique, I think. Having a good routine means I work very well. I've got a great work ethic. But also at the same time, and in the same sentence, like, routine usually means predictability, and predictability means comfortability. And if you can predict stuff, you can damage control, you can plan for stuff, you can kind of justify stuff in your head a lot easier. And I think a lot of that was for me, like a lot of things. So I've been really focusing on a bit of novelty maxing. I do love the thing of chucking maxing after everything at the moment. Dopamine maxing, novelty maxing, and yeah, like, I like that at the moment. Like little things, like, for example, not doing the podcast in my car. I looked in my garden and I went, ooh, I could sit on that bench there. It's a sunny day. why not? So I did. And like, even, I know this may sound crazy to some people listening, but it's just the way I'm kind of hardwired. Like, I go into Manchester once a week or once every 2 weeks because my little hometown, whilst I'm living out with my parents, is awesome. However, it is not very full of people my own age. So I tend to find I can feel a little bit lonely in that sense sometimes. But when I go into Manchester, I dot between a few coffee shops. And I've been really trying to go to different coffee shops. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but like, I found 3 when I first started doing it, and they were really good ones, good Wi-Fi, good seating, and I was like, sweet, I'm just going to use this. So every time for the next few weeks I went into Manchester, I went to the same 3 rotations. But it was like to then lean outside of that and be like, okay, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try and lean back on this bench. Let's hope it doesn't snap mid-podcast. That wouldn't be very good. I thought I'm going to give this a try and see some other coffee shops and stuff. And I think I'm going to be trying to do that with a lot of things. So I think that's not a bad thing. And I think the really important thing to remember, and I've fallen into this mindset before, is that life isn't an exam. There's no one waiting for you at the end being like, you got an A star, 100 out of 100, mate. It doesn't work like that. Like, that kind of feeds into perfectionism, and I don't think that's how it's going to kind of work when it's all said and done. I mean, again, that kind of ties into your own religious beliefs and stuff like that, and personally, I do not have any. So again, I think it's an interesting one that nobody sat there with a marking scheme at the end of your life and going, yep, you did that right. Now, that doesn't mean don't be a good person, don't get me wrong, but it means experiment, try things, like try different approaches to your life, try different behaviours, travel, fucking do this stuff. Like, no, there's no one set way. And I think that kind of leads you to the morbid fact that we're all going to die one day. We're all going to fucking die one day. There we go, podcast ended. Why the fuck am I even doing this podcast? But yeah, like, I thought that was an important part to touch upon, because I've been doing some experimentations, some would say, within my own life. Like, fuck it, I'll go into one of them, which for me is a big one. I haven't drank for... Last time I got drunk was 2022, okay? Like, consumed an alcoholic beverage in excess, which would send me to a place of not feeling my feet, okay? And ever since then, I've had a few drinks here and there. And when I say that, I literally mean, like, I would have had a Guinness or, again, a limoncello. And I kind of was like, you know what? I kind of have a little bit of a rule with alcohol, which I wanted to kind of challenge. And it sounds a little bit backwards, going from someone who doesn't drink to dabbling a little bit again, because it sounds really backwards, because alcohol on the whole is not good for you. But my whole thing with alcohol is, first of all, I don't like the taste of beer. I'm not someone who likes a beer or a pale ale, okay? Never have been. Kind of skipped that phase and went straight to the vodka at 18. And then because I went so ham on one side of the spectrum, I then went, I don't really like how I feel about this. And I went completely to the other side of the spectrum. Black and white thinking, camp A, camp B mentality. And my kind of thing nowadays is, I mean, I had a beverage last week. Now, those who are close to me listening to this podcast know I dabble in a little bit of limoncello. I quite like limoncello. I think it's like a lemon Fanta vodka. Okay, it's quite delightful. But I had a few limoncellos with a good friend of mine, and I had a really good time. Really good time. It took me to a nice place. I was warm, I was happy, I was a bit giggly, a bit socially lubricant, but I didn't go crazy. And I think, for me, that was a really nice occasion, because it kind of has rewired the way I've thought about alcohol, because instead of just being like all or nothing like I used to be, where when I was 18, 19, I used to get sloshed. There's a video out there of me downing a pint of vodka, and you've probably seen it on my Instagram. Nobody should be downing a pint of vodka, but I did when I was 18, and then I've just gone from that to basically like celibate in the alcohol world. But my kind of whole thing around it is like, and there's still some things I stand on quite well fundamentally to this day, which is like, it should add to the occasion, not take away. You know what I mean? It shouldn't make the occasion, but it should add to it. Like a little cherry on top, like a seasoning on a bit of chicken. That's a horrible fucking analogy. But you get my gist. So I tried without this weekend, and again, it was really good. I had a good time. More than anything, like, I did find that I wasn't hungover because I drank alcohol. It was more just like because I stayed up past fucking like 12 o'clock, and usually I'm a 10:30 bedtimer. So I felt the consequences of that. I'll tell you, that was not optimal for REM sleep and non-REM sleep, was it at all? So yeah, that was one of the areas. I'm not going to go too much further into it, but again, it almost quite socially seems a little bit wrong, like bro's going backwards, but it's actually going forwards because I enjoy my quality of life a little bit more. Simple. Yeah, so let's have a little look at the other topics before I start oversharing too much. Because there's other areas of my life which I'm still trying to improve, and there's some areas I am naturally just like unapologetically black and white in, but I think it's being more fluid. I think that's the main thing which I try to get at here, so take that from that as such. Okay. There's one which I was watching like a Hope Core video the other day, and I think this is quite a good one. And it was, stop observing your own life. Like, actually start actively participating in it. Stop thinking that, I'm going to do this and then. I'm going to get that job and then. I'm going to get with that partner and then. I'm going to move out and then. I think and then could be possibly two of the most dangerous words when it comes to making a life you want to live, because you actively procrastinate on the stuff you actually do want to do. And I mean, there's a morbid fact of you could just get hit by a bus tomorrow and it's all over. But again, I think constantly putting stuff off and waiting for the perfect moment for stuff to happen, and this isn't even in the gym sense. Like, I mean, personally as an online coach, I see it all the time. Once I get this job, then I'm going to get fit. Once I've got these holidays out the way, then I'm going to get fit. And it's not an integrated approach. And I think it's that thing of, again, yeah, and then could be potentially the two most dangerous words in the human dictionary. Because it's like, well, you're constantly waiting and almost like, I don't really want to use this word, edging yourself of the potential of your life could be. So it's definitely something I've changed in terms of my approach in the last few years, is stop waiting. What the fuck are you waiting for? Again, and then what? Because realistically, if you look at the evidence of your past life, once you did get that job, or once you did get that girl, or once you did feel like you could probably start the gym, did you do it? Ask yourself that question. And some of you maybe go, yeah, I did. You know what I mean? I smashed it. Sweet. Awesome. That bit's not for you. And I think that could be really valuable to someone out there, because I've definitely fallen into the trap, especially from a kind of romantic sense. Like, I've always been kind of like, oh, and once I get a partner, I will do that. And it's like, what are you waiting for? Just do it by yourself. Like, again, when I went to Barcelona, did I go through my Barcelona solo travels on my last podcast? Solo trip review, I did indeed. Yeah, Barcelona was awesome. The first time I went away by myself, and man, I had some pretty intense internal dialogues with myself. And I think that level of introspection is really important. Like, yeah, I get it, don't take life too seriously, but also, if you want stuff to change, you need to kind of have some sort of introspection. And yeah, we'll leave that there. But I think it's that thing of, what are you actively sitting on right now which you're procrastinating? Because I've done it all my life, and there's areas where I'm better at taking action. Like, I'm sick at going, yeah, let's just get to the gym. I'm awesome at doing that. That's why I've got muscles and I've got no personality. 101. But yeah, it's like that thing of, there's other things in my life which I'm not too good at when it comes to procrastinating. So I urge you, whoever you are watching this, to ask yourself, what are you procrastinating on? Are you waiting on something? And then what? You know what I mean? We've actually got a few questions as well to go through from the boys. I did put a Q&A box out this morning on Instagram. So we got 2 questions. Big up the 2 questions, which I'll go through because I think, again, people enjoy questions on here. Okay, we're going to go through 2 questions because I only have had this story box up for 4 hours, but we can just add the the next ones, if there is any, to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and be inauthentic. We've got 2 big old questions. First of all, is Matt Archer Academy. Big up, Matt. How do you deal with burnout, but from a realistic way? Not just the standard of advice of, go out for a walk, that will sort out burnout. And, okay, again, I'm not going to sit here like a guru. I have a bit of an unconventional way of dealing with burnout. Quite frankly, for me, it's going to sound really bad. It's something I'm improving on, but I tend to go through like stints of like, right, I'm going to really, really push with work. And then usually, to be honest, I get ill before I actually stop. Like, it's a pretty toxic trait of mine, but there's been plenty of times in the last few years where my body has made me stop before I want to stop. And it's a real thing. Like, if anybody sits there and tells you burnout is fake and not real, they don't know ball. It's literally a hormonal dysfunction of the HPA axis. Literally. Chronic excessive stimulation of the adrenal complex will cause you to burn out. And again, I think it's one of those things where I'm getting better at it in regards to taking things slower and learning when to pull off the gas. But it's definitely something I'm not going to sit here and act like I fucking know it all. It's something I'm actively working on at the moment. But I think the things to take into account when it comes to burnout is, first of all, I think, and I don't want to say this, but it is a genuine belief of mine, I think you have to find the ceiling to know where the optimum is. How can you put yourself at 70 to 90% of your maximum work rate if you don't know what 100% is? It's kind of like you want to kind of do RAR, you know what I mean? You want to do reps in reserve, but with your work capacity. Like, finding the optimum level of workload for you is like reps in reserve. You don't know reps in reserve unless you take yourself to failure to a degree. And I think you kind of have to be in that place because, again, it's you only know as hard as you've ever pushed. It's kind of the same. A lot of it ties with into bodybuilding or just any sort of sports psychology. But I think, going for a walk is not a chronic long-term relief. I think having things to look forward to, for me, is a big one. Like whether that's little trips away or whether that is constantly booking in like social occasions. Like as you get older, it's really hard to book in social occasions because people have got different lives, people have got partners, people are further away. It's like, yeah, mate, I really miss you. Do you want to do something in November? Like, compared to back in the day when it's like you're at school, it's like, what you do in second period? So, yeah, it's a bit different. But I think for me, a big part of that is planning and scheduling in social time with my family and my friends. That's huge for me. As well as some time where I can have a little bit of introspection. You know what I mean? Whether that's a trip by myself, whether that is going to the gym. I know it sounds simple, but something like that. I think that could be quite valuable. So, yeah, I definitely think that's a great answer from the standpoint, and it's something which I find is helping. But overall, I think managing burnout really comes from finding the optimum range of workload, allowing yourself to be fluid within your day-to-day life. So like, for example, today, like I said, my brain has just not been turning over today. So yeah, I've kind of just allowed myself to work at that 70% kind of thing. I can feel it starting to rain. That's not good. But it's that thing of, okay, I've allowed myself to work at 70%. I'm going to do my best today. All my clients are happy. Sweet. That's the main thing. And then from there, understand that you're going to have these natural ebbs and flows, but you're also, quite frankly, you've got to have these little times where you understand what it's all for. Like, I heard a great quote, I think it's from Ben Hawksworth, where he says, money means nothing unless you give it meaning. And it's like that thing of, especially with work, especially if you're an online coach, like I know Matt is, it's that thing of, at the end of the day, if you don't give money meaning, what's it for? You pay your bills, you pay your Loom subscription. What's it for? Is it for straight ego? Is it for self-worth? Ask yourself that question. It is starting to rain a little bit. I might have to move. But we're going to go into the second question, which is from my client, Big Jonathan Simpson, who's actually 10 kilos down as of this morning. Up the fucking boy. He put, what is your biggest pet peeve within the gym industry. Oh, there's a good few. What is my biggest pet peeve within the gym industry? There's a few, like I said. I think this whole thing of shitting on other coaches is a bit shit. Like, I mean, I think there's just a lot of negativity within the gym industry at the moment. Like, at the end of the day, our client's making progress. Like, a lot of the time when people are dick swinging and being like, yeah, like, I'm a better coach than you or whatever, and don't get me wrong, like, I back myself and I will put out comparative posts based on what I see sometimes. But I think one of my biggest pet peeves is, first of all, just constant gossip within the industry. I can't stand that either. But let me have a little think about this, because I think this could be... There is things which piss me off, don't get me wrong. I think the excessive marketing, I don't like that, but again, it is one thing I contribute to because I have to market myself. But I feel like, again, I market myself mainly by putting up results and stuff like that, more than anything. I do a little CTA every now and again, just trying to be good at marketing. I think, I don't know. I don't think there's anything I put my finger on. It's such a widespread industry. Like, I think one of my biggest pet peeves is more... Obviously, everybody is going to have different approaches. Different coaches are going to have different approaches to how they treat their clients. I think my biggest pet peeve is when a client doesn't fit within their approach or their mold or their beliefs, the coach not being able to actually mold to that client. Like, I can say hands down, every single one of my clients has a different approach, and I treat them all differently based on who they are, what their goals are, and how they respond to them. It's really that simple. So yeah, I think that. I mean, I think, I don't know. I mean, there's little things like shit exercise selections, shit exercise order, like awful nutrition advice. Like, again, there's things which I have based on my own beliefs. I'm a little bit more of a science kind of evidence-based guy, compared to like old school, just rip the bar bro. But hey ho, that's what you want, Jonathan. I didn't cause any beef, I'm sorry. But it is like that thing of, again, there's a lot of it at the moment in the industry. So yeah, like, I think it's that thing of, I think that might be potentially everything we've gone through. I've done about me, I've done questions, I've done a few things. I think, I think that's been a successful little pod. I know it hasn't really been as structured as a normal one, but I think we're going to get a little shift up soon. I think I'm going to try a different format of podcast potentially. We potentially be maybe moving on to season 2 of the podcast. Currently we're in season 1, don't worry. This is kind of just like the draft phase. This is going to be going for years, don't you worry. You're going to see me change my opinions 20 times. You're going to see me get fat, get thin. You're going to see it all, people. So we're going to love you and leave you there. Whoever you are, wherever you are, have a good day. Ask yourself introspective questions. Don't take life too seriously. And go from there. Coaching link in the bio. Full Bore Sports, code Drew. Hard Body code Drew10. I think it's that way round. Gym Pin I've got a code for. Code Drew again. Like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you want to see, and I'll see you in the next ep, people. Toodles.